Welcome back, dear wanderers of the macabre, to another spine-tingling installment of Most Haunted Places in Washington State. In this 7th chapter of our chilling exploration, we delve deeper into the shadowy corners of the Evergreen State, a land where towering forests, rugged coastlines, and mist-shrouded mountains harbor secrets too dark for daylight. From ghostly lighthouses perched on desolate cliffs to abandoned asylums echoing with the cries of tormented souls, Washington is a treasure trove of spectral tales that blur the line between fact and fiction. Washington State's haunted places are more than just locations. They are vessels carrying the echoes of lives lived and lost. These sites bear witness to events that continue to reverberate through time: shipwrecks claimed by merciless seas, battles fought on hallowed ground, unspeakable crimes cloaked in secrecy, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. Each place holds its own dark secrets, whispered through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied voices that drift through empty halls. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous haunted locales across Washington, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted mansions, explore eerie swamps cloaked in mystery, and tread cautiously through abandoned institutions teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of Washington State, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The Thornwood Castle, a Gothic masterpiece steeped in shadows nestled along the serene shores of American Lake in Lakewood, Washington, Thornwood Castle stands as a monument to both architectural splendor and spectral intrigue. Built between 1908 and 1911 by Chester Thorne, one of Tacoma's wealthiest businessmen, the castle was constructed using centuries-old materials imported from England, including sections of a dismantled Tudor mansion. Its grandeur and opulence earned it a reputation as one of the most beautiful private residences in the Pacific Northwest. Yet beneath its polished facade lies a darker narrative, one marked by tragedy, betrayal, and unrelenting despair. One of the most enduring legends tied to Thornwood Castle revolves around Laura Thorne, Chester's beloved wife, whose life ended in tragedy under mysterious circumstances. Historical records indicate that Laura struggled with depression following the loss of her only child during childbirth. Her death, ruled a suicide by drowning in the estate's lake, has long been shrouded in speculation. Many believe she was driven to desperation by forces beyond her control, perhaps even supernatural ones. Guests staying at the castle frequently report strange occurrences linked to Laura's restless spirit. Some describe hearing faint sobbing emanating from the upper floors, while others claim to see a translucent figure dressed in flowing white gowns wandering the grounds near the lake. Another prominent figure in the castle's haunted lore is believed to be Anna, a young servant who worked in the household during the early 20th century. According to local folklore, Anna fell victim to a forbidden romance with one of the estate workers, which ended tragically when he abandoned her. Heartbroken and disgraced, Anna is said to have taken her own life within the castle walls. Visitors recount sightings of a pale woman clad in period attire standing silently in doorways, her expression frozen in eternal anguish. Others report feeling an icy draft pass through them as they ascend the grand staircase, accompanied by the faint scent of lavender, a favorite fragrance of Anna's. The castle's basement, once used for storage and servants' quarters, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area often describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a caretaker who swore he saw a young boy playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the boy may have been a victim of illness or accident during the home's early years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Modern-day investigations into Thornwood Castle's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the library and the basement. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, Thornwood Castle remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and leisurely strolls. For those brave enough to venture inside after dark, the promise of encountering Laura, Anna, or one of the countless other spirits said to linger adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the castle grounds, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past, or will they become another chapter in the castle's macabre legacy? The Denny Regrade Hotel. Urban decay meets supernatural despair in the heart of Seattle's historic district, where the city's rapid modernization has all but erased traces of its gritty past, stands the Denny Regrade Hotel. A crumbling relic of the early 20th century that serves as a grim reminder of urban decay and human suffering. Once a bustling hub for travelers and laborers during the Klondike Gold Rush era, the hotel quickly became a microcosm of societal struggles, housing everyone from fortune seekers to down-and-out drifters. Its narrow hallways, peeling wallpaper, and dimly lit corridors exude an atmosphere of neglect and despair, yet beneath its dilapidated exterior lies a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, violence, and untimely deaths. One of the most infamous incidents tied to the Denny Regrade Hotel occurred in the late 1920s, when a violent dispute erupted between two rival gangs over territory and illicit activities. The argument spilled into the hotel's saloon, where tempers flared and fists flew. What began as a heated exchange escalated into a deadly shootout, leaving 3 men dead and several others wounded. Bloodstains soaked into the floorboards, and the room was hastily closed off afterward, deemed too cursed to reopen. To this day, visitors exploring the site report hearing muffled gunshots and guttural shouting, as though the brawl continues to play out in an endless loop. Adding to the hotel's haunted reputation is the legend of Eleanor Caldwell, a reclusive poet who resided there during the Great Depression. Described as beautiful but tragically naive, Eleanor fell victim to the advances of a wealthy guest who promised her riches and romance. When she discovered his intentions were less than honorable, she confronted him in room 17, only to meet a gruesome fate. Accounts vary, but all agree that Eleanor's death was brutal and unjust. Her spirit is said to linger in the room, manifesting as a faint outline of a woman clad in Victorian attire. Guests often complain of feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them, accompanied by the sound of quiet sobbing that seems to emanate from the walls themselves. The Denny Regrade's basement, once used as storage for contraband shipments, is another focal point of paranormal activity. Stories abound of workers who vanished mysteriously while retrieving crates, their bodies never found. Modern-day employees tasked with cleaning the area describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the Denny Regrade frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the hotel's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty miner's outfit standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Paranormal investigators exploring the Denny Regrade have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the former saloon and room 17. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of the ruins, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified the site's reputation as one of Washington State's most active haunted locations. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, the Denny Regrade Hotel continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the sacrifices made in pursuit of survival. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, the Denny Regrade offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. The Crescent Hotel, elegance entangled with the supernatural, perched majestically atop the hills of Bellingham, Washington. The Crescent Hotel exudes an air of refined elegance that belies its turbulent history. Established in 1907, this grand establishment was originally envisioned as a sanctuary for the elite, offering breathtaking views of the Cascade Mountains and luxurious accommodations fit for royalty. With its sweeping verandas, crystal chandeliers, and meticulously manicured gardens, the Crescent quickly became a beacon of sophistication and exclusivity. However, beneath its polished veneer lay a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, heartbreak, and unexplained phenomena that would cement its status as one of Washington State's most haunted hotels. The origins of the Crescent's spectral infamy can be traced back to its founder, Charles Stanley, a wealthy industrialist whose personal life unraveled in spectacular fashion. Rumors swirled about his volatile marriage to Eleanor Stanley, a woman rumored to have been driven to madness by her husband's infidelities. Their tempestuous relationship reached a breaking point in 1915, when Eleanor was found dead under suspicious circumstances in room 312. While officially ruled a suicide, whispers of foul play persisted, fueled by reports of Charles's erratic behavior in the weeks leading up to her death. Following the tragedy, Charles withdrew from society, rarely seen outside the confines of the hotel he had built. It wasn't long before strange occurrences began to plague the Crescent. Guests staying in room 312 reported hearing faint piano music drifting through the walls, despite the absence of any instrument in the vicinity. Others claimed to see a pale figure resembling Eleanor gliding silently through the corridors, her expression one of sorrowful longing. The most chilling accounts came from housekeeping staff, who swore they witnessed the bed in room 312 neatly made itself after being stripped bare, as though Eleanor were still tending to her duties as hostess. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is Thomas Greaves, a disgraced financier who checked into the Crescent in 1923 during a desperate attempt to evade creditors. Consumed by guilt and paranoia, Greaves barricaded himself in room 407, refusing to leave or accept visitors. Days later, his body was discovered slumped over a desk littered with torn documents and empty liquor bottles. Since then, guests occupying room 407 have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, accompanied by the stench of stale alcohol and the sound of papers rustling violently in the dead of night. Some claim to catch glimpses of a gaunt man pacing anxiously in front of the window, his face obscured by shadows. The Crescent's ballroom, once the site of lavish galas and high society gatherings, has also become a focal point of paranormal activity. Visitors attending events in the space often describe feeling an inexplicable chill, even amidst the warmth of celebration. Musicians performing on stage have reported hearing discordant notes played on phantom instruments, disrupting their melodies mid-performance. On more than one occasion, attendees have sworn they saw couples dancing gracefully across the floor, only to realize there was no music playing and no visible source of illumination casting their silhouettes. Modern-day investigations into the Crescent's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal cameras have detected significant temperature drops in key locations, including room 312 and the ballroom. Electromagnetic field, EMF, meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to the original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "Let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Crescent Hotel continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Eleanor, Thomas, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, the Crescent promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. Patterns across Washington's haunted places, themes of tragedy and resilience as we traverse the haunted landscapes of Washington State. From the opulent halls of Thornwood Castle to the somber grounds of the Denny Regrade Hotel, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. At the core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through Washington State's most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of Washington State's haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.